Tonight, the investigation into a deadly shooting in southeast Portland continues, and we now know the names of the people involved. Police say Charlie Wynn Chan shot Jason Gerald Petersen outside of his business. Petersen later died. Fox News' Cameron Kent spoke to
everything seemed to be exciting to him, kind of like our cat, you know. He was just full of energy and curious, wanted to know what was going on all the time. So, he just liked to be outside a lot. So, and he liked roaming the neighborhood. We lived on a cul-de-sac, so he was always running around with the other kids, riding his bike and stuff. So, he was pretty social.
When you think of him today, if you were to close your eyes, or when you sit back and you think about him, what's the one memory that
pops? Well, I get ones when he was young. The way he would try to make us laugh. Remember that? So there's certain things he did, and then I get his, the soccer days. Spent a lot of time with him, telling him to work harder.
Well, you coached him, right?
Oh yeah. And then I get flashbacks of his being homeless and flashbacks of the night I found out he was dead, telling everybody.
991.
991.
For you in 993, going with medical to the Golden Key Insurance, 5821 South DC 2. Getting a report that somebody's been shot.
Jason Petersen left his sleeping bag on his front porch. Chan, the morning he went into the office, found the sleeping bag. Chan took the sleeping bag, locked it in the trash can. Soon after, Jason came back looking for his sleeping bag. Chan told the police that Jason came in screaming and yelling, asking Chan to provide his sleeping bag or else Jason would kill him. The family continued to demand answers. The city of Portland and the officers were not able to provide any. Chan went out with his .22 revolver and told the police that he had no other option but in self-defense killed Jason. He told the police that he shot Jason in his lower left hip, but the facts and the autopsy show that the angle of the bullet came in, which required Chan to be much higher than Jason. A witness saw Chan standing on the porch shooting down at Jason Petersen. He ran into the street asking for help, and that's when he collapsed and died.
I turned left, and while I was in the turn lane, I looked over to the left, and I saw this guy, and they were kind of like arguing. At least that's what it looked like. They were kind of angry at each other. And then the guy, Jason, I believe, was walking away, and the guy shot him in the back. And then I was still waiting to turn, and Jason had actually crawled to my car and was at my car going, "Help me."
And remember what Chan said initially. Jason says, "Where's my stuff?" And Chan said, "What stuff?" So already the game is on for Chan, okay? That's not the answer. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Well, I put it in the dumpster. Do you want it back? Let's go out and get it, but I don't want you sleeping on my porch anymore. Do you got it? I'll give you your stuff back this time, but please don't come back. I mean, how about that civil option, okay? That's non-lethal, end of story, everyone's alive.
When you had the phone in the hand, did you tell him that you were calling 911?
I said, "Get out, I'm calling 911. I couldn't afraid. I think I could have said, "I'm calling police."
Okay. Why didn't you call 911?
Why didn't I?
Once he left.
Once he left? He left? Everything happens very quick. There was no time for nothing at all. It's like, he didn't ask for explanation. I didn't even have time for explanation. He just turns around and get angry and pissed on the, I'm not pissed, but spit on the floor and walked out, slammed the door behind him. Opened up, slammed the door behind him. So I was standing there like, what is this?
It just looked like they were just arguing pretty loudly. It almost looked like it was about to get physical, and then Jason had turned around and walked away, or was trying to walk away.
Shawnee.
And how do you spell it?
Shawnee.
Gotcha. So you said you're the first cousin of Mr. Petersen?
Correct. But my cousin was telling me that you guys had not brought any charges up against the business owner that actually shot Jason.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and I was curious if you could, kind of fill me in on the missing details on why this gentleman has not been charged yet, and why it's going to have to be handed over, I guess, to the grand jury to see if they're going to even indict him.
The family decided to file a civil lawsuit, which allowed them to investigate further.
What I love about him the most was very caring person.
How so?
He just was willing to help out and cared about people and cared about animals. Was always willing to, want to take an animal in, take care of it, help it. When he was homeless on the street, a couple of times when I went out and hunted him down, he had a sick little bird that he was taking care of, having it inside of his coat or in his pocket. And he'd just carry this little injured bird around, trying to make it better so it could fly and live.
She was really distraught because of the circumstances. Her son had died. Her eldest son is very young. She felt at that time that the police had not done a very good investigation. She was very angry because the media, how they were spinning the story, there was a lot of inaccuracies. She was trying to get to the bottom of it herself, but she was running into walls. Nobody was helping her. She felt there was more to the story than what was only being given to the media. She wanted answers.
I am well known in the community for being the person who talks to family members after bad things happen. Jason's mother called me and asked to meet, and we spent a couple of hours talking about their lives and his death, and I gave her some advice about taking care of herself. That would be a long path to finding some resolution. We track certainly every death caused by institutional death, hospitals, jails, law enforcement, and cases that are extraordinary like this, where, this case was extraordinary because of the sort of the subjective perspective of the media was instantaneous. The media, and the media is greatly influenced. The media is very decrepit at this point. They often just reproduce the talking points of the police. And the police often come to these talking points based on their amateur opinions, more or less than forensic evidence. The forensic evidence will come, months later, but on day one, the reporter's just saying, well, what did you see? And say, oh, this guy got spooked and shot him. What do we know? These things happen all the time. These kind of people laying in the driveway, things happen. So we're very interested in that kind of blanket disrespect of the situation and lack of humanity. And we find that one of the best ways to deal with that is by collecting all the information we can about a case and making sure it's in an orderly fashion online. Because in a case like the case of James Chassie, we covered that on a daily basis for a decade. And we found that when we put the case, that journalists would use our website more than their own resources, and journalists would come and go off the case. We probably had 40 or 50 people write stories about Chassie over a decade.
There are a lot of people who loved Jason, and that you know, next time you see somebody, then they look like a dirtbag. You know, there's people out there who really love this person and are concerned for them.
The reality is that homelessness is not going to go away 100%. It's here, and we need to know. We need to figure out how to handle it, how to conquer it, how to work with it. I get the impression sometimes, whether it's my city or whether it's Multnomah, they feel like they need an answer to get rid of it, make it go away. That's not accurate. But if you provide the right resources, they can live their normal, and they're not going to be a threat to society. Some people do need the resources also because they've fallen through the cracks because they need medical assistance. And if they were to be given the medical assistance and provide those resources, they can go back and lead an everyday life of what you and I probably call normal.
It's like we all know these people.
Right.
And the people we know are this close to being Jason, like cut off their meds or an economic downturn and they got to live in their car, and then suddenly, I mean, they really are pretty close to us where we're at now. I mean, you may have a BMW and an Audi and, you know, but, you know, we're all in the, you know, we're all closely related.
Chan eventually accepted responsibility and apologized to the family. The court ordered Chan pay $400,000 to the family. Till this day, no charges have been filed against Chan.